I was born with blonde hair and blue eyes. Well, my hair was blonde later on, if you look close enough in this black and white photo, because actually at birth I was bald as a billiard ball. There was nothing remarkable about my hair and eye color, as my dad had blonde hair and blue eyes. However, some babies are born with blonde hair and blue eyes, but both of their parents have dark hair and brown eyes. What's up with that? I decided to investigate this color discrepancy so that you don't have to. It's a myth that all babies are born with blue eyes. In the Newborn Eye Screening Test, or NEST, it was found that out of 192 newborns screened, the color percentage was 63% brown, 20.8% blue, 5.7% green hazel, 9.9% indeterminate, I guess that means, well, what do you think? And 0.5% heterochromia. This study was done at Stanford University by people with quite a few letters by their name, so you can be pretty confident that they know their stuff. Most of the babies in this study with blue eyes were Caucasian, but that is not always true. Out of those 20 to 30% of babies with light eyes, there's no guarantee that they'll stay that color. Eye color can continue to change for months after a baby is born. But why is that? Why aren't babies born with the eye color they end up having when they leave babyhood? The answer is in the production of a pigment in the iris called melanin. Melanin is secreted by cells called melanocytes. These are the same cells that give your skin and hair its color. The lighter your iris, the less melanin it has. Eyes aren't blue or green because they have blue pigment or green pigment, but because they have less pigment than people with brown eyes. The color of a baby's eyes has to do with the amount of melanin they're born with. The amount of melanin increases over time because the melanocytes in the iris respond to light. The color change stops around the age of 2, but may stop earlier than that. So why aren't all babies born with blue eyes? That's because most Black, Asian, and Hispanic babies are born with more melanin in their irises to begin with. Of course, like everything in life, there are exceptions, such as actors James Earl Jones, Gary Dourdan, and Michael Ealy. The genetics of eye color is complicated, as multiple genes are at work. Trying to predict a baby's eye color by looking at the parents isn't accurate, to say the least. Inheritance from grandparents has a role in this too. I'm not even going to try to explain gene expression, as I don't completely understand it and I don't want to get lost in the weeds. It's possible for 2 brown-eyed parents to have a blue-eyed child, and also possible for 2 blue-eyed parents to have a brown-eyed child, even though it's really unusual. So don't assume a kid is adopted if their eye color doesn't fit expectations. As I said, genetics is complicated. Since you've been so patient with my explanations, here are pictures of cute baby animals as a reward. Now back to our regularly scheduled program. Like eye color, the pigment melanin determines hair color. The 2 pigments in melanin, eumelanin and pheomelanin, determine hair color by the amount of each in the hair. Eumelanin has black and brown pigment, so the more of that particular pigment you have, the darker your hair. Pheomelanin determines how red your hair is. The genes that control these pigments determine the final color of a baby's hair. As the baby gets older, the amount of eumelanin in their hair increases and the hair gets darker. Dark-haired children have pheomelanin in their hair, but the concentrations are so low you don't notice it unless the sunlight hits it in a certain way, and you may see a reddish cast. A baby with light blonde hair doesn't have much eumelanin or pheomelanin, while a red-headed baby has more pheomelanin than eumelanin. The shade of red is determined by the amounts of both types of melanin. Scientists don't fully understand why a baby's hair gets dark as a baby ages. It can't be for the same reason as eye color change, because sunlight exposure makes hair lighter, not darker. Researchers believe that hormonal changes regulate the production of both types of melanin in the hair and causes a rise in eumelanin. Baby hair color can continue to change until about age 5. The hair of some kids continues to darken through adolescence. My hair finally stopped getting darker when it reached a dark blonde shade as I entered high school. Then when I entered college, my hair got magically lighter. Well, you know the old saying, only my hairdresser knows for sure. My, how things have changed in our understanding of eye and hair color. When I was in school, I learned brown eyes are dominant and blue eyes are recessive. End of story. Now we know that eye color is more complicated than that. So complicated that the Punnett square I used to figure out eye color back in high school biology and thought was easy morphed into that genetics course that was really complicated, that I registered for in my 50s and dropped within a week. As the Grateful Dead would say, you remember them, right? What a long, strange trip it's been. Eye color isn't determined by a single gene, as we may have been taught when we were in high school. Blue eyes aren't determined by a recessive allele on one gene, but a variation of different genes and interactions between them. If you're thinking to yourself, so is everything I learned back in the day wrong? Well, keep in mind that science, as well as many other things, change over time as more studies are done. One of the interesting things about getting older is looking back to see how things have changed. I'll attach the links to the information I used in the description. If you want to take a genetics course to learn more about this, I'll be praying for you. I really will. I hope you enjoyed this video and got more out of it than the pictures of cute baby animals. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to keep this old girl learning.